Fire brigade. Okay, we must be just about there. Okay, 1 o'clock. Kia ora and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this extraordinary council meeting, 14th of April, Tuesday 2020, and I believe probably our first by virtual transmission. So welcome to all our live stream audience out there, members of the staff, members of the public. Thank you very much for joining us today. Councillor Kingi, may I ask you if you could just give us a blessing for this afternoon, please?
Absolutely, Worship. Kia ora, everybody. Whakataka te hau ki te uru, whakataka te hau ki te tonga. Kia mā kine kine ki uta, kia mā taratara ki tai. E hi ake ana te a tā kura, he teo, he hoka, he hauhu, haumi e, hui e, tā ki e.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kingi. Truly appreciate it. So we'll go straight to item 1 on the agenda this afternoon. Is apologies. Do we have any apologies? No apologies. So we'll move straight to item number 2. Is conflicts of interest. Any conflicts of interest pertaining to the items? Sorry, I've got a bit of noise in the background. Just a moment. Any conflicts? No? Okay, item 3, confirmation of the minutes of the ordinary council meeting on the 25th of February 2020. We have a copy of the minutes. Is there any points of clarification of those minutes at all?
David, will we pause on the decision regarding the Kittle Drive intersection and wait for a response from the applications that have been put into central government today?
Perhaps if I could get Gareth to ask that, Councillor Leonard, answer that.
So there's yes, there's 2 elements to that. Councillor, one is obviously going into our annual plan very shortly. And then secondly, obviously that is part of one of the applications. So we'll see where both of those processes get to.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, can I have a mover for those minutes, please? Councillor Body, I see.
Oh, hang on. Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yep. Councillor Body.
During the meeting with the fees and charges, I raised the question of charges to, if you like, rent out the Rhodes Garden. I was told that there would be a reply at some stage. I noticed it's not on the adoption of the fees and charges, so maybe when we get to there, we can discuss that one issue.
Okay, fees and charges coming up next,
thank you.
actually.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, could I have a mover for those minutes, please?
I will.
Moved by councillor Christine Rankin, seconded by
Councillor Guy.
councillor Guy. Thank you very much. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against?
Aye.
Carried.
Right.
Sorry, Sammy, just technical advice here. I can't get everyone's faces up on the screen. What do I need to do?
Yep, Simon, if you wouldn't mind just cancelling the spotlight of the video, and then we can move it back to gallery view.
Stop video? No, what?
No, so Simon Rankine, sorry, if he wouldn't mind just stopping the spotlight, and then you can up the top right, click gallery view, and it will allow you to see everyone.
Okay, so top right. Gallery view. Yep. Sorry. Thank you very much. Okay, item 4.1. We have fees and charges. Tanya. Good afternoon, Tanya. Tanya Wood, are you there?
I am here. Good afternoon, councillors. I hope you all had a lovely Easter with your bubbles.
Sorry, Tanya. Can't quite hear you.
Okay.
It's better.
That's
Yep.
better?
Yeah.
Okay, good afternoon, councillors. Hope you all had a lovely Easter. This item seeks the adoption of the fees and charges. So the fees and charges schedule is this for 2021 is the same as the 1920 year, with the exception of the building levy, which is a fee that levy that we collect on behalf of MB and is going to reduce because of a change in legislation. And there are also some changes to the solid waste fees as a result of the emissions trading scheme. So the, my screen's just blanked out. So the per tonne charge for the solid waste for the landfill and the transfer stations will increase from $120 to $130. The small load will increase from $12 to $13. And unfortunately, this wasn't pulled through in the version of the fees and charges attached to the agenda, but the medium load will change from $30 to $32, and the large load fee will change from $48 to $52. And Councillor Body, I believe that you had a question about the rose gardens.
Yeah, I think it's the microphone on. Yes, I raised it that last month because the group would charge $50 for the use of the gardens. As it transpires, they didn't pay it because they cancelled it. I think the gazebo wasn't in a very good state, but it's never been in our fees and charges. So I'm just wondering where that may be, if there is actually a fee or charge in that particular rose garden.
I'm not aware of that myself, but I can certainly have a look into that one and get back to you.
Thank you.
Lovely. Thanks very much, Tanya. Appreciate that. Do we have any questions of Tanya?
Sorry, through the chair, just to clarify, thank you, Your Worship. Just through the chair, there is a wedding fee in the fees and charges, so irrelevant of where the wedding is. Surely that covers that.
Could be.
Your Worship, I have seen the fees and charges that stated to do with wedding parties. The point that was made by this group was that others were sitting in the rose garden having their lunch. Why was there a particular charge? Because it was a small group. So if we could get that clarified, weddings are certainly covered. Photographs are covered. You've got the aura area as well. That's all got the fees there too.
Through you, Your Worship, probably I know we've got Steve on the line and Greg as well. I'll ask either of them whether or not they are aware of that fee. But just before I do that, Tanya, can you just confirm for me, this is actually different to what we last spoke to council about, isn't it? And that we now are suggesting the same fees this year as last year. When we last spoke to council, it was we were proposing an increase for a number of these fees. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. So yes, so the proposal is to keep the same fees as last year, bar the exceptions that I've outlined just before.
So that's something that council laws just need to be aware of and be happy with, and that's our, as staff, that was our suggestion to you essentially as a result of COVID to keep those fees and charges the same.
So you're talking about the AC barbs and the likes of
Across the board, Your Worship. So all of those fees, rather than increasing them, given the financial or the changes that we've had in the last 3 weeks. You remember that previously you'd gone through and agreed to a number of changes.
Yeah, sure.
Our suggestion now is that we keep them the same.
Keep them the same. Okay. Good suggestion. Thank you. All right. Any other questions of Tanya?
Yes, Your Worship. Can I just ask, and I know it's probably 11th hour, but when you have a family that have a family pass to the AC bars for a year, what is the mechanism for the slide fees? Do they have to pay every time they use their family membership to use the slide, or is it included?
No, they have to pay. So the slide is separate to your family membership. Your membership gets you in the facility. The slides are additional to that.
Right, okay, thanks.
All right. Thanks, Councillor Park. Thank you, Gareth. Okay, so there's a suggested recommendation there that Tina's put up on the screen there that Council adopts the fees and charges for 2020-21 as per the item. Thank you, Tanya. Do I have a mover, please, for that?
I would move.
Kylie.
Councillor Park, and seconded by Councillor Leonard. All those in favour, please say aye.
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 Against? Carried. Thank you very much. Okay, so item, what have we got here? Hold on. Next item is, I can go back. Sorry. So receipt 4.2, receipt of the LTPPJC 21st of February 2020 meeting minutes and options and governance management of the Lake Taupo Protection Project.
Good afternoon again. It's a bit of a mouthful.
Tanya, sorry. Sorry,
right.
a slight technical difficulty there, but Tanya, yours again.
Yes, it's a bit of a mouthful, this one. So this paper seeks, on the 21st of February, the Lake Taupo Protection Project Joint Committee meeting recommended the preferred option for the future governance and management of the project going forward. So this preferred option would see governance continue to be conducted by the Joint Committee, with the management being undertaken by a council-controlled organisation which is housed within a partner organisation. So at this stage, council needs to decide whether to accept the recommendation or to send the Joint Committee's recommendation back for reconsideration.
Very good. Okay. Thank you, Tanya.
Thanks, Tanya.
Any questions of Tanya? Councillor Williamson.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Worship. Yeah, thank you as well, Tanya. Having been involved, I think I missed the February meeting, but I'm Kyle Newell endorsed. Having been involved with this project for the third term, I'm willing to, quite happy to recommend the 5 recommendations that's been proposed going forward.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Williamson. Any other questions before I ask for a seconder, Tanya? No. Could I have a seconder, please? Oh,
Yes, I'll do that.
Resolution's up there, seconded by Councillor Leonard. All those in favour, please say aye. Those
Aye.
against?
Aye.
Carried. Okay, item 4.3, request for extension for the operation of the Broadlands Road Resource Recovery Centre and Kinloch contract. We have Mr. Brent Aiken.
Hello, Your Worship, the councillors. I'll take the item as read and really here just to answer any questions.
Yeah, cool. Okay, it's quite a large sum there, but obviously the existing operators have been doing a good job, Brent.
They have, and that the forefront of service delivery through COVID-19. So a shout out to all our service delivery operators out there.
Okay, thanks very much, Brent. Any questions? Councillor Guy.
Can I just ask, over the period of time, have they received any increase at all relating to CPI?
correct? Yes, they have.
Thank you.
Great. Okay. Any other questions of Mr. Aitken? Councillor Body.
Just one, Your Worship, and I know this is going to be a hard one in regards of, I know this contract has been extended by a length of time and amount of money. Is this not the time when maybe we need to look at some of these things to try and prune some of these costs?
Who is best to answer that at this stage?
Well, I can have a go at that. There's really limited amounts of really experienced contractors out there in the marketplace. With the uncertainty around COVID-19, I'd be recommending that we stay with the original contractor. We don't know where the money will go from a tendering perspective out there. My recommendation as it sits is that we stay with this experienced contractor that we have. There's definitely some uncertainty. We have got a good contractor in place. They have been our contractor for over 10 years. They have run the contract prior to this contract. So I'd be suggesting that we stick with what we know in that sense.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Aitken, because I think that's covered in your documentation. I would seek your recommendations. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Councillor Body, and thank you, Brent. Any other questions of Brent?
Just one question. So that's plus GST, isn't it? That amount?
Correct, it is, yes.
Thank you, Councillor Truman. Okay, we haven't got the recommendation. We've got a lot of emails there, Tina. So I don't know what's happened, but on your diligent, there's obviously a request for the extension to be approved. Do I have a mover, please?
I'm happy to move it.
Sound like Councillor Rankin and came in second by Councillor Leonard. Thank you. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, carried. 4.4, the tender for chemicals for the water and wastewater treatment plants, and we have Daniel Mackay. Welcome, Daniel.
Hello, and welcome from the other TDC. I'm calling in from Tararua District Council.
Oh,
yes, Paitoa, just down the road.
Welcome, Daniel.
Thank you. So this is, I was quite excited about this little project. This is looking at our wastewater and our water chemicals that we're using in our treatment plants. It was really just a commodity spend, and we're able to leverage with Hauraki District Council and Matamata Piako. So we put all of our resources together, and we went to the market with a bit more of a bulk offering. And as a region, between all three of us, we're able to get about $428,000 worth of savings, which would be kind of awesome if I could take that. But unfortunately for Taupō, we're just looking at around 28 or so. But holistically, I think we're all quite a bit better off from going through this. But really, this is just a commodity purchasing, bulk buying exercise, and it's pretty straightforward without too many fish hooks. One of the big advantages to this, though, and we're seeing this already, is we're getting better management of the category of our chemicals. And with that better management, we've got hotlines, as it were, to make sure that we have continuity of supply over the next and backup plans and things like that. So we're not shooting from the hip because supply chains are starting to fall down and that kind of thing. So yeah, I'll open the floor up to any questions.
Okay, thanks, Daniel. How long is this particular contract for? Sorry,
it'll be 3 years plus 2.
So that's
right, renewal 3 years after the first 3.
So that figure is per year.
That figure is for the 3 years of the initial term of the contract.
Okay, so I think we might need that in there somewhere. Correct?
Yeah, that should be more clear. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Thank you. So for the 3 years, yeah. It does include fluoride and that sort of thing, or?
Yeah, it does. It includes it's all of our treatment chemicals, so sodium hypochlorite and our chlorines, and our fluorides and our wastewater treatment chemicals too. So our flocculants and stuff like that drop out.
Yeah. Yep. No problems. All right. Any questions of Daniel?
Yeah, one from me through the chair.
Councillor Taylor.
The savings look significant. I'm just curious as to why proportionately the Taupo District Council savings are so low compared relative to the other councils.
Because our water's a lot cleaner, basically.
Good answer.
We don't use as much, is what you're saying, Daniel, is it?
No. Well, I mean, honestly, the water quality of Lake Taupo, which is our reservoir essentially, is far superior to anything that Matamata Piako or Hauraki District Council use. They hoe through quite a lot of chemicals in comparison to ourselves.
Okay, thank you.
So the expectation is that we would use significantly less, hence the less savings, yeah?
Yeah, there's also the fact that we're a bigger council to start off with, and we probably were in a better position in terms of what we're paying in terms of a price point. But they were smaller councils that had never leveraged anything before. So it's a mixture of those two things.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Taylor. Thank you. Any more questions to Daniel? Okay, suggested resolution. Tina's put that recommendation put up there, and you've added for a term of 3 years. Yep. So it's amended recommendation as per Tina's board there. Could I have a mover, please?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
Councillor Taylor, seconded by.
Yep.
Councillor, who was that?
Kylie.
Councillor Leonard. Thank you very much. Thank you, Daniel.
Your Worship, before you move on,
Yeah.
can I just ask, do we ever, for other items, join with other councils to get better prices? It can become very complicated if you make it too formal, but do we do it for other things? Because in government departments, we do.
So I'll probably answer this off, Your Worship. So we do, and over a large number of activities. So you'll be aware that we're members of both the Bay of Plenty Local Authority Shared Service and the Waikato Local Authority Shared Service. So through that, we joint procure a whole lot of things, from our insurances through now our chemicals and a raft of other things. And then on top of that, we're also part of the all of government contracting process as well. So when we're purchasing things like motor vehicles, as an example, we get essentially the credit from working with government and all other local authorities and health boards and the like.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Rankin. All right. The next item on the agenda is 4.5, the delegation of authority to the CE to award equipment supply contracts for the Kinloch wastewater treatment plant. And we have Mr. Michael Cordell. Mike, how are you, Mike?
Very good, thank you. Good afternoon, David and councillors. Yeah, so this paper, this item really is exactly what it says, seeking delegated authority for the CE to sign contracts. And the reason for this is we're running a really tight time frame on the Kinloch program to get the upgrade done by our deadline, and potentially looking at the current situation is that I understand the next council meeting might not be till the 26th of May, it's to be confirmed, but that's a 6-week period and we certainly can't delay the purchase of this equipment. So what we're really looking for is to start that procurement and purchasing with the suppliers, and that doesn't mean it's not like buying a car where you pay and they deliver the car. This is a process whereby we work with them. There's a design process they have to go through, and we pay for these bits of equipment over time, part for design, part for pre-construction, part once it gets to site. So there's really two things to be aware of. One is that we're not paying for all this now, it's staggered. But the second thing is, because it's staggered like that, part of those payments will go through and will come under that next year's annual plan budget, which is that program of work that was outlined, I think it was in August and then again later last year. So that's a really, we just can't afford a 6-week delay.
Very good. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Michael. Any questions of Michael? Councillor Guy.
Yes, I read with interest the issues around how the process works with regards to the membranes, etc., having to be brought in from overseas. Given the current environment, is this likely to delay the delivery of the project if we don't, or if we can't get the equipment, the specialised equipment from overseas?
Yes, so the tenders closed today at 4 o'clock, and we've been engaging with some of these suppliers, obviously through the tender period. We know that there are at least one supplier of the screens, the inlet screens, who manufactures in Northern Italy, and they may, so that supplier, we'll wait and see if they've put a tender in. We don't know yet. We'll find out at 4 o'clock. But yes, it's possible that there could be some delays. So I guess the sooner we can start engaging with a preferred supplier, the better. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, if you could keep us up to date on that, Mike, would be appreciated if you do run into any difficulties, because we realise that it's a pretty important part of the infrastructure out there, that's for sure. Thanks, Michael. Any other questions?
Yes, Your Worship, just very quickly, could I ask Mr. Cordell the figure that's in the of the 2 million? How was that arise? Is it based on your dialogue with some of these suppliers in the past to give you a feel for that? How was that arrived at?
Okay, so in the detail of the paper, we've got our estimates for the two packages, the Inlet Works package being $500,000 and the membrane package being 1.2 million. So our expectation is that this should total about 1.7 million. Obviously, if it comes in at slightly over that, we don't want to be in a position of having to come back or not be able to proceed with our process because we haven't given Gareth sufficient delegation to proceed. So the 2 million is really just providing a bit of a buffer above what we expect the price will be.
Yes, so effectively what you're telling us, it's based on previous known figures with a bit of a leeway.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Councillor Boddy. And any other questions for Michael? Councillor Park.
Maybe not necessarily for Michael, but when just out of curiosity, in this virtual time when we're in lockdown, how are tenders being received and opened and signed off? Because I mean, it's with an elected member, and usually, isn't it?
I can answer that one.
Thank you.
So we're currently putting our tenders out on TenderLink, which is an electronic portal, and that's and things are electronically date stamped when they're opened, and we can control the probity in that respect.
Yeah, I think Councillor Park is more inquiring actually physically, Daniel, when the tenders come in, who's going to be opening them, and so they're always got to be witnessed and that. So we'll have to work out a formula to do that.
Yeah, that's fair enough. At the moment, they're coming in and they're being opened by our business support people, and I think the protocol now is to forward a copy to Corn as well as to myself, and then I think as we discussed with Corn, if it's something that's of note, she'd forward it to you for your eyes, Your Worship. So as we go through the process, like this one with the dollar figures we're likely to get, I think you'll probably see them, but it'll come initially from business support, and then it'll be sent to Corn and to myself, and then I'll distribute it to the officers that are doing the evaluation, and then Corn will send it to yourself and maybe Gareth if it's of significant importance.
Yes, if I can, Your Worship. Yeah, the reason that there is an elected member for the paper copies is that that assurance process, so that we make sure that each tender is opened and is part of the process. That's important when you've got the old paper form with the tender box, to make sure that there's no fraud or negligence put in there. With the IT system that Daniel has talked about, it removes a lot of that requirement because of the date stamping and the electronic auditing that goes on. So we've replaced yourself, Your Worship, with a computer system.
Oh, well, it's happened before. I've coped with rejection before, so I know how to handle it. All right, Rick, any other questions of Michael?
Yeah, just one, Your Worship, just in terms of the recommendation for the increased delegation, is that for this project only, or is that across the board? Because I think it's an important distinction we need to be clear on.
It's for the items outlined in this paper only.
Great, thank you.
Again, just through you, Mr. Worship, you'll remember that when COVID first started, we did have the discussion informally about whether or not my delegations needed to rise through this time. We've backed away from that because we don't believe that it's been necessary. We've lived within the means to date, and there's not significant costs that are unthought of or unbudgeted for council. So we haven't needed to do that. Hence, there's not a paper on the agenda today asking for increased delegation across the board.
Okay, thank you, Gareth, and thank you, Michael. All right, we could have the suggested recommendation up there. Thanks, Tina. Council delegates this as per the resolution there. No changes. Can I have a mover, please?
Yes, I will move that.
Moved by Councillor Kathy Guy, seconded by Councillor John Williamson. Thank you very much. All those in favour, please say aye. Those
Aye.
against?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you. Thank you, Michael. What do we got next? 4.6 new erosion works on Lake Terrace foreshore. We've got Fraser. Are you there, Fraser?
I am.
Hey, Fraser.
Afternoon, Your Worship.
Very good. Okay, the floor is yours, sir.
Put your video on, Fraser. Okay. That should be on now.
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah.
Nice to see you, Fraser. Okay, we've got your agenda item here. Would you like to talk to it, please?
Yep. It's to do with the section of the lakefront across the road from the Tremaine intersection on Lake Terrace. Excuse me. During the storm in late December, we had some erosion. We had an erosion event through there, and it's exposed how bad the subsurface material is in that area. And it was, we think, as far as we can tell, it was put in there when the road was built, and it's we've pretty much got away with it. We've been lucky up to this point that it hasn't been eroded. There's been some poor attempts to deal with the erosion through that area over the past, and those have been exposed in the last couple of storm events that we've had. So what we're proposing is that we take the opportunity while the contractor's on site and while that area of lakefront is being dealt with as part of this project, that we address the erosion through there and do it, do it once and do it properly. And then we can put the, so that will do two things. It'll protect the existing infrastructure, the road and the underground services, but it'll also allow us to carry on and put the path through that location.
Okay, thanks, Fraser. I suppose when the original mapping out of this project, or the walkway project, this was unforeseen at that particular time. Is that what I'm getting?
Yeah, it was, and I guess that's why I said at the start we've been lucky up till now that we haven't, as a council, that the erosion hasn't taken that area out sooner. But it was just a combination of a high lake level and a specific wind that we just haven't had before. But we're obviously going to get in the future at some point in time. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Thank you. Any questions of Fraser?
Yeah.
Councillor Mack.
So with this erosion here, and obviously we've got it down the southern lake side as well, are we, do we not have anything in place that shows us that we've got the erosion happening and we've got a budget, or are we just, as erosion happens, we just deal with it?
No.
Sorry, through the chair, I can take a stab at this, and then maybe Greg can back it up as well. So we have a lot of money set aside for erosion around those areas that we have identified through a erosion strategy done quite a while ago. We've been working pretty closely with Te Whare Māori Trust Board and with Waikato Regional Council, because they fund 45% of this type of work in general. And this is the type of stuff that we've been working with them over a long period of time. So you'll see some substantive figures in the LTP covering all of this. It just happens that some of this is in the
Yeah, no, I think you've pretty well covered it, Kevin. We have got budgeted areas. There are some areas where we know we've got ongoing issues that we've got budget sitting there for, and then you'll get one-off events like this which expose other areas, and we've got to move and do something about those as they appear.
Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. I'll just turn you off and go back to diligent. In the considerations in this item, with references made to the 10 principles of the Lake Taupo erosion flood strategy. So I took the liberty of reading that prior to this meeting. What consideration is being given to the power companies that control the level of the lake, given that that is well documented in the strategy, that is a significant contributor? And I appreciate this is not specific to this, but given what Councillor Mack has just said, this is an ongoing issue and it's going to be with us for as long as the lake is here. So is it time as a council that we start pushing back in terms of the high lake levels, knowing that we have storm surges or waves that cause these things ongoing?
So I can probably, I can probably do this one. Essentially, this whole conversation started back when that strategy was written. Councillor Taylor, about 2008, I think. We went through a period of probably about 5 years of having just that very conversation with the power companies around lake levels. It's fair to say, and the power companies acknowledge that that lake levels have a part to play in terms of erosion. What they also state, and quite rightfully in my opinion and in the opinion of the science, is that it's only a part of the problem. It's not the complete picture. There are other things which also contribute to erosion. In this case, clearly the type of material and type of response that was put in when the road was put in is a key part of that. And that is unsatisfactory and always would have been. So it was one of those things that was done in the day. In other parts of the lake, the way that the lakeshore is used, our own activities in terms of the community's desire to have grass all the way up to the lakeshore rather than any vegetation, other things like that also impact on the erosion material. So look, we went through a period of about 5 or 6 years of or actually longer than that, of fighting the power companies, and particularly one in particular, Mercury, who control the lake levels. Every time that company's resource consent comes up, we ask the regional council to review those consents. They go through, and the science basically comes back not being able to quantify the impact of the consents on erosion, and in fact even been wider than that the erosion was an effect that was foreseen at the time that those resource consents were granted, so it was taken into account at that time. So then once you get past that point, you then get to so the lake level isn't going to change, it's within the rules, if you like. So then you get to who's going to pay. And what the power companies quite clearly say is, look, under Project Watershed, which is the 55-45 split that we talked about between the region and council, the power companies pay a percentage of that through their activities, and so that's their contribution to that piece of work. In saying that, they have in the past provided extra one-off assistance. So the piece that Councillor Mack talked about at Kurito, they were part of the solution there. That would be 6 or 7 years ago through beach replenishment. But we've definitely taken the view more recently that we'll work with those power companies rather than fighting them through the courts, where lawyers are the only ones that win.
You there, Your Worship?
Yep, Councillor Boddy.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm a little bit like Councillor Tabor. When I read this, I did a little bit of research and found that, as the CEO's pointed out, it was 2009 when a document was written that when you read it, it's almost as powerful, if not the same power as a district plan. So I was a little bit concerned on page 24 of the agenda paper, and this has nothing to do with the author that wrote the paper. The words state here, this work is consistent with the 10 principles that underpin the Lake Taupo erosion and flood strategy. I would have thought that that may have been or should have been an attachment to the agenda paper so councillors could read it and just see what the procedures are. Because when you read that full erosion plan, you've got on page 28, roles and responsibilities, page 25, key principles for decision making, page 31, monitoring, and page 33 talks about the specific area. So I'm of the view now, having done that bit of reading and worked out that since I've been on council, I think we've had a couple of instances. Once we went down by bus to the Southern Lake to look at areas down there that needed work done to them. We haven't really followed that strategy. So I believe, in fairness to the rest of the new councillors, that maybe this should be deferred to the next meeting. And as you say, we've got an extraordinary meeting today so that that particular document can be sent out and read.
Right.
Worship, if I could jump
Councillor
in there.
Taylor.
I'm not suggesting we defer this particular project because I agree that it is timely given that we have contractors on the ground and it makes sense to do this. But this is symptomatic of a bigger picture, and I hear what the CEO has said and I accept that, but I'm not 100% that we should just let it lie. That's all I'm saying.
So through your worship, the reason for bringing this, we look at this particular issue, obviously, as has been talked about, we've got contractors who, once we're out of lockdown, will be on site, and it does make sense to continue on. I'm hearing what you're saying, and my suggestion would be we're actually quite fortunate that the person who wrote that strategy still works for us. That's Nick Carroll, and so my suggestion would be that we get Nick in for a workshop with councillors to bring them up to speed over the whole lot, along with Greg, because Greg's the one who implements these things. So the two of them can have a workshop, particularly on erosion, which would probably bring everybody up to speed.
And just, Gareth, just remind me of when that consent comes up again.
Oh, we submitted on it last time. It was
2 years ago.
We were in the old building, your worship, so it would be a couple of years ago, and it's every 5 years, I think, it comes up, so it'll be a couple of years away.
So it's a huge topic of discussion at the time when that consent comes up about the the high lake levels and the effects and all that sort of thing. So yeah, I'd encourage that workshop, to be honest, Gareth, because it is a big and important piece of work. This particular location, though, Fraser, we've had many problems down there, Kevin. It's the only one part of the road where the waves actually come over, and God knows what's happening underneath there, because I would suspect if you don't do anything now, that whole road will give way at some stage. So I can see why you've brought this forward, and I truly appreciate it.
So through the chair, when you do have a good look at it up close, it's pretty scary. That's why we've got the paper in front of you now.
Yeah.
I think Greg has been working quite a while on a presentation to bring to the elected members around the erosion control, because we've got quite a decent implementation plan for that strategy, and that's rolling through the long-term plan. And it'd be very timely to bring Nick in to chat about the strategy. The strategy is one part, but it's how you implement it is the other part, and that's the stage we're into now.
Cool. Any other questions of Fraser and Kevin or Greg? Well, we've got them there. No.
Through the chair.
Yes, Councillor Williamson.
Yeah, just retracing what the commentary, Gareth's commentary about having been a bit of, not so much directly involved with the some of the Lake Taupo Catchment Committee and now defunct committee with some of all the other stakeholders and pushing this forward. Looking at reviewing this whole project watersheds has been it's been a lot of work in progress, and just trying to get everybody on the same page with the funding model, etc., and prioritising things. So there's something that hasn't been forgotten, but it does certainly, I would agree, that needs to be pushed forward. Had a workshop through council just to be a little bit more sort of push it forward from our council point of view. And just with the talking about the project watershed with the 55-45 split, that 150k is now 1920. I see page 125. You've got 1920. 1920 should be 19, perhaps 19/20 plan, but rather 1920 is 100 years ago.
When the road was built.
But on page 125, that 150k is part of our budget. Doesn't involve splitting at 55-45. That's what we have to, what it costs council. Is that correct?
What was that question, John? Sorry.
Oh, the 150k from the annual plan, 90 of the 170 is not split 45% to regional council. It's 100%, 100% district council.
If I can answer that, it does attract the 45% subsidy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the total. 45% of that will be paid by regional council.
That was my understanding. Thank you, Greg.
Okay. Do we need that in the recommendation or Gareth? No. Okay. All right. Suggested recommendation. Thanks, Tina. All right. 1, 2, and 3 here. Could I have a mover, please?
I'll move.
Thank you, Councillor Marks, seconded by Councillor Williamson. Thank you. All those in favour, please say aye.
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 Carried. Okay, 4.7, easement request on the Chad Street Gully Reserve. Nathan, are you there, Nathan? No? Kevin, can we have you? I take your mute off.
Yep. So, yeah, I'm happy to take the paper as read. I was assuming Nathan will be here to talk through it, but it's a pretty basic paper, really. And it's got a good picture there showing the stuff going across the gully, if you want to call it that. And it's just really a transactional thing.
Okay, where is it? Okay, so it's
through the chair on page 129, it shows it at the bottom of Chad Street there going across the new subdivision.
So that's a utility, so it's a power cable, is it? It's the easement, and then what are they going to put in there, sorry?
So transmission cable.
Yeah.
Above or below?
Below.
Be below.
Below, okay, cool. All right.
I've just got a couple of questions.
Councillor Westerman.
Yeah, thank you. I can't, just getting a little bit of feedback from Rainbow Point residents, wondering why that can't be taken down off Lake Terrace instead of coming in across from Lakeside subdivision. There's quite a few people in there complaining about the quality of the service there, and I can't see why Unison can't bring it down and help those other residents within Rainbow Drive.
Yeah, so through the chair, we don't get a say in how they work their service or their reticulation. We had an application in front of us to do this. We can actually ask them, but we can't do much more than that.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, just on that point, I believe if you read the district plan, which I think is 3N for Nelly, it talks about what the utilities can and can't do. And I think what Councillor Westerman has said may be not so much in breach of that particular part of the district plan, but they may be required to look at alternatives. So maybe this needs a little bit more thought.
Through the chair, what they also have is they have a Utilities Act, and they have a right to any road, and we have very little of say in that as such.
And that district plan rule is if a resource consent is needed, and in this case, no resource consent is needed, so you can't force them to look at alternatives.
I just want to forward out a common courtesy if Councillor Westerman has some queries there from particular ratepayers who that at least the conversation should take place. I suppose that might have taken place, I don't know, but it doesn't appear to in the paper.
So through the chair, no, that wouldn't be a job that Nathan would have looked at. It's not our common practice to.
Okay. So just back to Councillor Weston, what's their particular query? Why did it not go down Rainbow
hasn't it come off Lake Terrace and down Rainbow Drive? But also, are the developers of Lakeside agreeable with that? And look, I don't understand utilities 100%, but all of a sudden they're going to be tagging on to the existing supply in a new subdivision for the sake of one person to bring it through to Rainbow Point, when in fact this could benefit if they enforced them to come down off Lake Terrace.
Right. I would have thought coming through that gully would have been better for the Rainbow Point residents. Am I wrong? Or
Through the chair, I can't answer that. I'm not an electricity specialist. It is closer. It is closer, and if you use it like talking water, because it is pressure and it's just transfer of energy, it would make sense that it's shorter.
Through the chair, and I would have thought even logistically, the shortest the distance, the less longer term risk of anything. You know, not that you expect that to happen, but
yeah. Okay. All right. I would suspect we just put a footnote on that that they have exhausted. Perhaps where have I gotten to now? What's the recommend? Yeah, put the recommendation up, please, if you don't mind. Thanks, Tina, and we'll just have a look at that. So council acting as agrees to grant easement to Unison Reserve. Yep, boom. 1 and 2. I'm just trying to your ratepayers down there on Rainbow. Is that perhaps number 3 that they've exhausted? Is this? Yeah. What do you suggest, Mr. Green? How can we accommodate some? Just making sure those residents, the other avenues are being looked at.
I don't think we need anything in the resolution, Your Worship, but I can have a chat to Mr. Goff from Unison and just get an understanding of why this is the preferred rather than what Councillor Westerman is talking about. I'm pretty sure it'll be down to being a better technical solution and/or cost, but we can certainly ask the question.
Yeah. Okay. Well, perhaps we just note that in the minutes. Do you think?
And the cost of it is solely with the developer, or who'll be paying Unison?
I would imagine so, Councillor, yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'd like to know for sure that the council aren't having to pick up any cost on that.
Oh no, there's no cost.
Sorry, definitely not council, but yeah, what the commercial arrangement between Unison and the developer is, I don't know.
Cool. All right. Okay. Can I have a mover for that suggested recommendation there, please?
Through the chair, I'll move it. Recommendation 1 and 2.
Thank you. Councillor Williamson moved, seconded by?
I'll do that. Councillor Taylor.
Councillor Kevin Taylor. Thank you. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, carry. Okay, last item, 4.8, delegation of Whareroa, private plan change to go to commissioners. Hilary, are you there? Oh, hi,
Yes.
Hilary.
I'm here. Good afternoon. Nice to see you all. Yeah, just a really quick item here, and I'll take it as read. Just one little note to add. We were just a little bit of there was just a little bit of a complication with timing on this item. We have begun dealing with the commissioners for this hearing in the last triennium, so it's been around for a little while. And in the last triennium, there was already delegation set up within the existing terms of reference, which then changed with this new triennium. So that's why we've now come to you with this item, but we've been in discussions with these commissioners for quite some time. So that's just a bit of an outline on the timing of this item. So we're looking at a hearing in May, all going well, for the Whareroa private plan change. Happy to take any questions.
So none of the current elected members are RMA qualified, correct?
No, that's right. So to sit on a panel of the likes of this plan change, you need to have gone through the Making Good Decisions RMA program, which currently we don't have any appropriately certificated councillors. So that's why we've gone to independent commissioners in this case.
So just, Your Worship, we do have Councillor Leonard, Westerman and Taylor, who were either going to or about to do this before COVID came up to do their training, but that takes a good couple of months to go through the training and get the accreditation, which this would happen before that.
Right, sure. And the minimum is 5, is it?
That's what the current JMA between ourselves and the Tūwhare Toa Māori Trust Board, which is, this is the first time that our JMA for this has been used, which is quite exciting. It does stipulate 5 commissioners. We actually made a recommendation to the applicant that we didn't need 5 in this case, and that we follow the same process with 3 commissioners. However, the applicant has chosen to remain with the full 5 panel.
Okay, cool. Yeah, okay. Obviously, we've got a former elected member there. You don't see any particular problems as far as that's concerned?
So obviously that was a little bit of a transfer, I guess, because at the time when we approached the commissioners, she was obviously a sitting councillor. But in that case, she just would transfer into an independent commissioner role, and the Making Good Decisions certification carries over into your role as an independent commissioner in that situation.
Right. Okay. There's a couple of commissioners we would normally use, i.e. Bill Wasley and a couple of others. Their name's not not there, but anyway, who selected those? Sorry, just run that past me again. Hello, sorry.
They were selected through the officers. Just in regard to Bill Wasley, he was considered. However, there wasn't a relationship between him and the applicant, so it was felt like there might have been a conflict there.
Okay, cool. Any other questions of Hilary? No, all pretty straightforward. Lovely. Okay, recommendation up there that we appoint those commissioners. And do I have a mover, please?
I'll move.
Councillor Boddy moved. Seconded by?
I'll second.
Councillor Williamson. Okay, all those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Thank you. Thank you, Hilary. Appreciate your time, and we look forward to that happening. I presume it will still happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might be via Zoom.
Yeah, true, correct. Okay, give our regards to the family, please.
Will do, thank you.
Okay, all right, councillors, that brings the end of this extraordinary meeting. Thank you very much, members of the staff and councillors. And we will see you next time. Sammy in Auckland, thank you so much for facilitating. Truly appreciate it. I think, did it sound quite clear out there? I'm not too sure. Were we doing anything wrong, Sammy?
No, you did really well. Everyone sounded really great, really clear. There were a couple of little audio feedbacks coming in. I imagine that may have been someone's mic cord loose. Other than that, it was really, really great. Yeah, really great. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, Councillor Kingy, do you mind wrapping us up and bless us for the next few days?